The dumbest theory. Where did the idea of flight even come from? How could a creature think of flying when flight didn't even exist yet? How did birds acquire the ability to fly? Please don't tell me it was by jumping for millions of years. That is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. I mean, if humans kept jumping for generations over long ages, would they grow wings? Or would their legs just evolve, assuming for the sake of argument that the theory is even correct to begin with? I mentioned the ability to fly just to simplify the grandeur of creation for everyone. So how about you rephrase that sentence using the concept of sight? Go ahead, try it. Or the ability to hear. Or the process of reproduction. How did that creature live and on what? Was it immortal until it discovered the process of reproduction? Oh, right. Reproduction between a male and a female. How did that come about? Did the male evolve first, or the female? Or did they both evolve at the exact same time through two separate coincidences? And by coincidence, they happened to have two different systems that were perfectly compatible with each other. Wow, what a dumb theory. Of course, they will give you an answer. But is it actually acceptable? Or is it just an answer that makes things even worse? Take sight, for example. They tell you, it's simple. The eye just started as a tiny sensitive spot that could tell light from darkness. Well, haven't we just gone right back to square one? On what grounds did this cell start telling them apart in the first place? Did it have prior knowledge that something called light existed outside of it, such that it prepared complex proteins and chemical receptors just to receive it? And more importantly, even if we assume, for the sake of argument, that a miraculous random mutation occurred in a blind creature, and a single light-sensitive cell suddenly appeared, or a half ear, or a half wing, this cell on its own, without a nerve to transmit the signal, and without a brain and an operating system to translate that signal into a decision like, watch out, you're about to fall into a volcano, is nothing but a useless piece of extra flesh with absolutely no immediate benefit. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It is a burden on the creature because it consumes energy from its food for building and maintenance without offering any advantage in the struggle for survival. For this cell to survive and evolve, the theory must assume that nature knew this currently useless part would become highly useful millions of years later when it finally connected to the brain. And this brings us right back to prior design and purpose, the very thing they completely deny. Therefore, they are stuck between two choices, both of which utterly demolish their theory. 1. Either nature preserves useless organs across thousands of generations, which completely breaks the law of natural selection and survival of the fittest. 2. Or the cell, the nerve, the brain, and the operating system all appeared at the exact same moment as one complete integrated system. And that is not called random evolution, that is called design and creation by the maker. Even if we assume these ideas arose randomly, how did that creature retain the idea? Did it have a memory? Where did the very concept of storing thoughts come from? If there wasn't an organ to store thoughts in the first place, how did that idea persist? It means no idea would have ever formed to begin with. Furthermore, how was that idea passed from one creature to another? If it died, wouldn't the idea die with it? Or did it leave them a will before its death, through nothingness? Also, in order to transition between two different environments, did both of those environments remain exactly the same for millions of years? To put the naivety of this theory into even simpler terms,
A grain of sand appeared out of nowhere and somehow acquired life or consciousness in an inexplicable way. It was living in an unknown environment and without death. After millions of years, it needed to eat, so it evolved a charging port to take in energy. This process took millions of years.
What? Wait a minute. How? What kind of energy? And is this charging port made of the exact same sand material, or did it evolve new materials?
Stop with these questions. You're annoying. Let us finish the story. Later, it needed to see, so it evolved a camera to notice the environment around it. And please, Don't ask how the idea and ability of sight came about when it never existed before, because we don't know, maybe by clapping or swimming for millions of years. Then, after millions of years, it evolved a Stop asking. Let us finish. After millions of years, it evolved a screen and a speaker to share its thoughts with others.
Hold on a second. Does it even have thoughts?
Yes, of course, because after another millions of years, it evolved a memory, a processor, and a chip, all the way to an operating system to organize information.
Was this system ready-made? Or was it being updated depending on the newly evolved organs?
We don't know. The important thing is that this grain of sand has now become a smartphone. There are about 150 internal and external hardware components inside this phone. In each component, there are billions of transistors, making a total of anywhere between 150 billion to over 600 billion transistors inside this single phone. And each transistor took thousands of years to evolve.
Meaning, according to your words, the age of this phone or this grain of sand is much older than the age of the universe itself, which is 13.8 billion years.
Oh. Anyway, if you don't believe us, go and ask the maker.
By the way, there is another problem. A laptop supposedly evolved from that smartphone. Between the two, there are over 60 million different